your expertise is a little different than most everybody else's. Because I heard some people, we've got a tracker coming. Tell us a little bit about.
Well, we were offensive versus defenses. Our job was to go out and find the enemy and not wait for them to get close enough to be detected. So we went looking, and after I spent some time with my dog, and I could, if we were on track, just by her actions, I could tell you how far away and what direction somebody was.
Right. Now, something else that I was kind of like I said, and I plead a lot of ignorance here. This has been a big learning curve for me. I knew there was dogs and I knew there was handlers. That's pretty much all I knew. Instead of like being assigned to a platoon like a lot of the guys, you guys sort of were an outfit.
Right. I was with the 63rd Infantry Platoon of Combat Trackers. We had 5 different teams, and when a unit requested our services, the next available team went out.
How many guys in a team?
There was 5 guys, myself, my cover man, the team leader, the visual tracker, and his cover man.
You say cover man. That kind of what are the roles of these people in this 5-man team?
Okay. My job was to watch the dog when we were on track. I just watched the narrow area around the dog. And the cover man, he watched everything else, the top of the trees over on the side, looking for anything strange. And if he saw something, he had my shoulder and he threw me on the ground.
Okay.
And it was just, that's...
You like that guy?
Yeah. You always, you always bought your cover man a beer.
Right, absolutely. I would think so. Now, and you and I were talking a little bit yesterday. The trackers have sort of an interesting history in you guys, the way you were trained and where that training came from.
Yeah, the original trackers were trained in Malaysia by the British with Gurkhas and some New Zealand SAS, British SAS, and Gurkhas, the Napoleon soldiers. And then they went and served in Vietnam, and then when they went home, they trained my generation.
Okay.
So I'm like the second generation tracker. There was the first generation that were trained by the British, and then the second generation.
The Malaysians, they were sort of known as really brutal, aggressive.
Oh, the Gurkhas.
Yeah.
They were fierce fighters. Yeah, they wouldn't go looking for a fight, but when it came their way, they ended it.
Yeah, and you were telling me something about the marks.
Yeah, when they pulled their kukri, their curved knife, if they didn't draw blood and they drew it out of the sheath, they had to draw blood, so they would nick themselves in there.
It's kind of like that old saying with a gun, if you're going to pull it, you should. So they had that. If they didn't use it, they still draw blood. That's make you a little reluctant to pull it, but knowing there's a price if you did.
Yeah, and they lived up to that honor, and
that's kind of a interesting whole concept. And I should have asked you this earlier, but how did you? I'm assuming you were drafted or
I volunteered.
You volunteered?
Yeah.
Well, you're one of those unusual guys. We don't see many of those. You volunteered. How did you get from infantry to being a dog handler?
When I was in infantry training at Fort Polk, Louisiana, they came around and they were asking, describing the trackers and what we did, and is who wants to be a dog handler? I'll do it. I'm young and dumb. I'll do that, and
that's one of the things too. Even among, dog handlers to begin with. If you'll excuse my approach to it, a little bit crazy.
Oh, we're a lot crazy.
And then trackers, even more extreme.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's because like I said, you were saying too that, like say a scout dog, that approach compared to the tracker dog. I mean, as far as what their jobs was, you were telling me a little bit about when a scout dog.
Yeah, well, basically, we use black Labrador retrievers mainly because they will hold a ground scent,
Okay.
and a shepherd is more of an air scent dog. So that
Okay. And like say the scouts, they go out in a very defensive position. Is that a
yeah, more of defensive, in defense of the platoon they're working for.
but the tracker whole different approach.
Now we went out. We're going looking.
Right.
We're going looking. Try and keep up.
Now, if you're not okay with this, you can decide I want to talk about this. When we were talking yesterday, bad day, good day coming home, bad day leaving your dog.
Worst day of my life. That ranks right up there with my father passing away.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, we have all kinds of viewers that love their dogs, and they say, "Oh, my dog is just everything." So they can understand. I think, and I'm a dog owner. I can understand this much of the bond with the dog. But this dog has not only become your best friend, but it's also saved your life.
Yeah. I mean, if we were out on a mission and we had to spend the night out, she was curled up right next to me.
Yeah.
And so it was just, the bond is beyond description.
Yeah.
I guess.
And that's one of those things it's okay to touch on, because I understand from talking to you yesterday it's different now. But the military looked at the dogs, which is just why I think of this events like this such a neat thing. But the military looked at the dogs as kind of like they did with the equipment.
Yeah, they were equipment.
And majority of the dogs at the end of the war, or when we came home,
Were euthanized. They were turned over to the South Vietnamese Army.
the dog. What was the dog's name?
Opal.
Opal. And you were telling me there was something that was kind of unique about Opal and the litter that she came from,
Yeah, they were
or he came from.
she.
Okay.
She was bred with an experimental process, which we now know is in vitro fertilization.
That was early.
That was early. That was in the mid '60s.
Man.
Yeah.
And so with in vitro, she had a litter of. I mean, she came from a litter of
7,
and all 7 were.
picked up by the Army and made into trackers.
That's why. Now, did you? I don't know if you get or connect or join with your dog in Vietnam, or did that happen here?
I got my dog in Vietnam.
Okay. And only one dog.
Only one dog. My whole tour.
That's interesting. Robert, again, I appreciate your service and appreciate your time talking to us today. It has been a learning curve and much appreciated on my part. Thank you so
Yep.
much.